Welcome to the new now, high-end, highness, wow factor evolution. I am Majesty AliNICOLE Wow. As always, I want to thank you for joining me. So I want to get started with talking about the lucrative Lord of Hosts. And I'm going to be reading from Psalm 24, verse 10. And this is going to be from the English Standard Version. So who is this King of glory? The Lord of hosts, he is the King of glory. So it's important that as you are in this new, now high-end calling experience and the evolution of it, you have to understand that there's an evolving perspective of your framework in terms of your connection to the Lord on this level. And as you've learned in a previous segment about the Lord Almighty, but in the context of the Lord, the high end, okay? The high end aspect of the Lord. There's different connotations, different calibrations and vibrations to the Lord in this way. So just like there's Jehovah Jireh, we have different names of God. They represent something different, right? So as you're moving up in this new now high-end space, you move into the vibration of the frequency of the lucrative Lord of Hosts. No different than when you call on the Lord of Abundance, the God of Abundance. You have to be specific when you are operating in this new now context, because remember, it is the evolution. Most don't understand that when Christ was on earth, he brought forth the evolution. That's why he said, I didn't come to abolish the law. I came to fulfill it, which meant that he came to bring the evolution. And by bringing the evolution, it would then kind of diminish, in a sense, the old law. Doesn't mean that there was not still some context or premise to that would be serving, but not binding people to certain aspects of that, because the evolution, the fulfillment has arrived. So if you think metaphorically about an acorn has within it the encoding of an oak tree. And so when the acorn is cracked open, now the process of the development and growth of the oak tree is underway. You can very much look at the Old Testament in terms of being that acorn. When Jesus came on scene, he brought the evolution. He brought the oak tree. And why do you think that even when Isaiah talks about you will be called oaks of righteousness, right? Because you are under the evolutionary aspect. Unfortunately, that's not what's really taught. So now let me bring this into the context in terms of the new now high-end way and answering your new now high-end calling and being in the evolution so that you can bring forth the wow factor from that vantage point. What is even the wow factor from that vantage point? It is the greater works template. No eyes have seen, no ears have heard, right? But in order to get in that context of God that way, the Lord of hosts, who is this King of glory? It is the lucrative Lord of hosts, is whom you are making the connection with in this context. As I talked in a previous segment in terms of how Jesus talks in John 14, that in my house there are many mansions, all right? Going to prepare a place so that there where I am, you may come as well. So what it is that there's different levels and different states. And if you want to put that in the mind of Christ on different levels of consciousness, you can do that, right? But there's different levels. And on that different levels, there's different rules of engagement. But you would never know that if you don't actually get into the evolution. You'll still be bound to the acorniness of understanding of scripture, which is where the religious context wants to keep you in that framework, very much bound to that. But see, Jesus, the lucrative liberator, came to set the captives free, okay? And he even told the Pharisees that, see, you search the scriptures because in it you think you find life, but you have yet to come to me, meaning you have yet to sync up with this vibration, with this connection of what God is doing. So you look for ways to bring the scripture into the focus that you desire instead of actually moving on with the progression. So this relates to the high end, the holistic high end aspect of a calling. Is that if you don't move up in your calling and move up in your relationship with the Lord in this way, you will be stuck to the old context that has already fallen away. Already fallen away. You will never emerge to be the oak of righteousness, richly righteous in your royal reign, if in fact you don't progress with the evolution. Again, perfect example, Jesus brought the evolution. You see, now you're in the new now testament of the experience, which is the evolution. You're part of the greater works. With that greater works, what you're here to display is on a completely different level than before. Success templates look different, okay? How you achieve your high-end success looks different, all right? It looks different. No eyes have seen, no ears have heard. And so on this level of the evolution, you are synced up with the lucrative Lord of Hosts that will give you the context in which you need to operate from in this season of your life so that you can bring forth harvests like never before. So let's just sit with that for a moment. Ephesians 3:20 on steroids. More than you can ask, think, or imagine. And most of you have been praying for that more than you can ask, think, and imagine. But I'm here to tell you, but you've been praying and syncing up and communing with the wrong vibration of God for this context. In this new, now, high-end experience. So as I was talking about in the previous segment about the Lord almost high end, okay, the Lord Almighty in that way, the affluent Lord Almighty, you have to be specific. You have to be specific in which area of God, of the Lord that you are communing with, operating with. So when you think about a department store, the department store cohesively is one enterprise, so to speak. But within that enterprise, there are different departments. If you want something from, let's say, electronics or so, you have to go to the electronics department. You don't go to the bakery trying to get information about the technology and the electronics. It is the same within the context of God in these different levels, these different mini mansions that Jesus talks about, these different dimensions. So if you're just calling on just a regular vibration that's common to you, that maybe has even worked for you in a sense, but you have to do what Revelation 4:1 says. You have to come up higher. Come up higher so you can know what's going to take place, so you can know what's relevant in this new now context for you as it relates to your high-end calling, okay? In this new this newer context. So it's the same in terms of the lucrative aspect. You have to be in communion with the lucrative Lord of Hosts. And what does that Lord of Hosts bring about? It's going to bring about those many different levels of the high-end vantage point. That is the expansion. That is the evolution. So who is this King of Glory? The Lord, the lucrative Lord of Hosts, is the King of Glory on this level, on this level. And within understanding the lucrative Lord of Hosts, this is a holistic premise. This is not just about a financial context. This is about the lucrativity, if you will, of life itself, which in the life codes is where everything is found, the way, the truth, and the what? The life. What's that equal to? I am the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus said in John 10:10, I have come that they may have life and have it more abundantly. And in this case, it's have it more affluently, have it more in the lucrative vantage point. But in order for that to take place, you have to be synced up with the lucrative Lord of Hosts, who will bring you and guide you into all truth as it relates to you and what your calling is and your divine assignment and why it's going to take the higher lucrative advantage for you to carry it out in the most affluent, aligned ways. All right? So this may be very new and different to a lot of people. But this is definitely where you have to sync up and to learn what is right for you, not what religion is teaching you, not what a lot of the traditional business frameworks are teaching you. You have to be awake and aware to what your new now high-end calling is in this evolutionary expansion. All right? So you can lean into this by simply adding a newer context, not just the Lord of Hosts. You still call on the Lord of Hosts, but have that in its rightful place. But when you want to be synced up, you have to go to that department of the lucrative Lord of Hosts and commune in there so you can get the insight and the wisdom in terms of how do you need to go about this? Do you need to be in the receptive mode to receive the wisdom and the insight of how you carry this lucrative mission out, so to speak? All right. So this should make sense to some of you in terms of, well, I get it now. Why I've been praying about certain things, and it's no, I have not been going to the right department in order to receive that. I've been in the bakery trying to get my tires fixed. I'm using a super Walmart type of framework at this point. But does that make sense to you? You can understand now why you're not getting certain results because you're in the wrong department trying to call on. You're going to yield and get that which you're calling on, or it's going to be a mismatch. And in this case, it can't be for you where the bakery and Walmart can call over to the electronics department, or so, and you can speak to somebody from there. More than likely, they're going to send you over to that department. And that's what's happening. You're being constantly redirected. But because you're not aware, you don't know where to go. That's where when the scripture says that my people perish for a lack of knowledge, you don't have a knowledge base in terms of these different frequencies and vibrations of God. Not in the evolutionary expansion. You have it in terms of, like I was mentioning, the names of God, Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Nisi. All of these have different vibrations to them. And those are different departments that you call on for those specifics, right? But as I mentioned, in this evolution, as it relates to the high end, the holistic high end experience, you have got to be specific and in that department. So my invitation to each of you is to spend time communing and learning what it is that you need to know about this next level, this now and this next level for yourself. And I do have helpful resources and things that can help you get started just in a very practical way, not a religious context or anything of that nature, but to be guided divinely in the ways that your way, truth, and the life. Okay, that's the Christ life codes for you. Again, you don't have to be religious to embrace and embody this. All right, it's a frequency, it's an understanding. But you do have to be synced up and calibrated in this new now experience in order to not just bring forth the manifestations, but to live out while you're here. You cannot rely on the old structures. Even Jesus, when he rose, even told Mary, please do not hold on to me the way that you did before. That was a format in which you knew me in during that time. I have evolved, not yet fully ascended in a sense at that point. I'm not the same. You can't count me as being the same as the one that was on the cross and the one who has risen. I'm on a completely different level, and I need you to meet me here. But if you keep holding on to me the way that you once knew me in that framework, in that life, you're going to forfeit. You're not going to receive the benefits that I want to load you up with daily on this level. All right. So think of it in that context. All right. The lucrative Lord of Hosts, and be in that level, that dimension of that awareness. Right. So take time to just be present. Again, not something hard to do. Just be intentional about it. If you want to be present with Psalm 24:10, who is this King of glory? Who is this King of glory? The lucrative Lord of Hosts is this King of glory on this level, in this hour. That is the highest frequency and vibration that is reigning in this present time right now. Different context to it, but you still read it in the light that you have in terms of who is this King of glory, the Lord of Hosts. But just know that that's a generalization. That's a generalization, but it doesn't speak to a specific department. The Lord of Hosts, host, plural, hosting different levels, but you need to call out the specific level in which you want the host to facilitate and for you to be hosted, so to speak, okay? All right. So I'm going to invite everybody to take a deep breath, please. I just want you to take a few moments just to imagine that your life is this wow factor evolution. Ephesians 3:20, more than you can ask or imagine, that no eyes have seen, no ears have heard, what is coming forth from you and what's going to be demonstrated in terms of this life that you're here to live out and to be on display for the world to see, for those you're here to make an impact on, and why it's important that you have this new now high-end experience that's flowing through your life, because it is demonstrating and representing the lucrative Lord of Hosts, the Lord Most High End, that's here to bring forth your greater works. Right? Take a deep breath, please. Okay. So just be present with that. Again, make it very simple. And I'm glad to have come forth to share this. And especially for those of you who are new to this perspective, just know that this is your new now way of beingness during this time. and starting to ease into this. And you'll see the different changes in your life. You'll see the different changes in your impact within, whether it's your business, your nonprofit, your ministry. You will see the difference when you are specifically in those departments or vibrations, so to speak, of the Lord of Hosts. All right. Well, I'm going to leave you with that for the moment. And I am certainly looking forward to being back with you soon. There'll be a playlist within the description and other information. And it's just practical ways that you can start leveling yourself up, especially if you're in business. Primarily, this is for those who are entrepreneurs, so to speak, but anyone who actually is in the high-end space doing high-end work and feel called to this high-end lifestyle, but you want to do it in the new now context, in the evolution, where it's purely aligned for you in a customized way for you to discover what's true for you. All right. So be blessed until the next time we connect. And I look forward to being back with you soon.